Okay, awesome. And we're live. Okay, welcome everyone. So the purpose of tonight's Zoom meeting was to prepare you guys for any winery job applications. I know harvest hiring is happening right now, but also if you are just interested in like a tasting room position or a management position, events, etc., all are welcome tonight, of course. So I have just kind of some like words of wisdom and advice I'd be happy to share with you guys. Let me see if I can share my screen. Aha. Yes, yes. We shall do this one. Okay, cool. And I'll bring this down here. Okay, awesome. Hopefully you guys can see this. Oh, wrong way. Okay, so there are a couple different sites for winery jobs that are like specific to the wine industry, right? And if you have a question, feel free to chip in and interrupt me at any time. This is not like a formal meeting by any means. So winebusiness.com has a wine jobs section, and that's also just called winejobs.com. So a lot of wineries will use this. Indeed is it's also kind of a good reference point for finding winery jobs, but most of the local wineries use winejobs.com. It's interesting because you'll see like a lot of positions in like maybe Clarksburg or Napa. You won't see a lot of listings for like local Sierra Foothills wineries, and that's because a lot of jobs are found by like word of mouth or just knowing people or having a connection in the industry. That's one of the reasons I wanted to get together was I am your connection in the industry, right? So if you ever have a question about like, hey, what do you think about this place or this? And I could be like, oh, well, if you want to learn about biodynamic farming, I'd recommend XYZ, or one of the top winemakers in Rhone varieties of the region is so and so, right? So it's nice to have that connection and have that in. So that's the big reason I want to do that. So you can start your search on wine business or winejobs.com. You can look on Indeed. The next thing I would tell you is because a lot of jobs are just found by word of mouth in the region, reach out for yourself. Find a winery that you like the wines of. So if you live in, say, like Sacramento or Folsom, wherever you live, if you're looking for a place to work that's close to home, or maybe not, depends on your needs, right? You can research areas or things in your area that you might be interested in, right? And then don't be afraid to be outgoing and just ask, hey, are you guys hiring? Or like, hey, like, this is my favorite wine bar and I took these wine classes. I'm really excited. Is there any way I could pick up a couple of shifts on the weekends or something? So we're kind of coming into this busy season, especially for the Sierra Foothills with Apple Hill and harvest season. So a lot of places will be hiring, but they might not be actually like posting about it. So don't be afraid to be outgoing and to put that out there, because the worst they could say is no, well, thank you for your interest, but we're not hiring right now. So it's not a big deal. There are a lot of wineries. So in your research, think about more than just like, oh, I like to drink their wine. Think about, if you're going into this for winemaking specifically, think about like, well, what is their resume of wines? One of the reasons I really wanted to work at Boger and why I still work at Boger is we produced over 31 different varieties of grapes. I really wanted that experience of working with multiple types of grapes and winemaking because they're all different. And learning about their individual personalities or needs or requirements was very interesting to me. So that was one of the big drives to work at this winery. But you might find, maybe you just want to learn about Italian wines. Maybe you just want to learn about French. If there's a winery that specializes in something that you are interested in, integrate that into your research, right? Also, if you're more interested in the viticulture side, we have a handful of wineries that are biodynamic, that are organic. And we also, of course, have like the conventional farming methods as well. They do things differently than other people, and being able to work with them, you get that access to talk to the owners and the viticulturists and see like how they're doing things. And even if you're just working in the tasting room, the owners are always happy to talk to their staff about that because they want you to be able to convey that to customers, right? So that's actually where I started learning in my career in wine. Was I started in the tasting room. I didn't know anything about wine. I would listen to what my coworkers were saying about the wine, and I would do my own research, and then I would have to learn how to talk to the customers about the wine. But then I started talking to the owner and the winemaker and saying, hey, how do we do this? And then I'd learn from them too. So that's a really good place to start as well. Another piece of advice for that is like when you find a place that you're interested in working, go test the waters, just go visit, try the wine, meet the people, like see if the vibes or the general climate there is mostly positive, right? So, you know, you're all adults, obviously. So you guys are good at reading a room and like reading if there's tension in a workplace or not. Like some wineries might be very toxic and very stressful, and some wineries might be really positive and people have good relationships with each other. So generally the climate that you see in the front of house can be represent the climate in the back of house as well. So it's always good to know that. That's something I wish I had told myself getting into this industry, is like, don't just like commit, like go like check it out first, like go on that first date, you know, kind of a deal of like, let's see if we're compatible, you know, that way. So I definitely recommend checking it out. Yeah, meet the people. Are the people interested in you as a customer, you know, or they just blow you off? Because that might tell you a lot about what it's going to be like to work there for you. Also, if this is a place you do check it out and you do really enjoy it, go in, introduce yourself, drop off a resume. This, generally speaking, we have a lot of older winery owners in the area that's still really very much respect and acknowledge this process of applications, because it was a generation where you go, you show your face, you look them in the eye, you shake their hands, you know, you show good social skills, right? So this is the generation that still really is valuable to them, right? So we live kind of in a technology era where it's like, we'll just post it online. And that's probably better for like big corporate wineries like Rombauer or even Turley, right? But for the most part, the smaller family-owned wineries like Boger, Lava Cap, you know, Madrone, basically everyone in the Apple Hill area and even Fairplay would still really appreciate the gesture of coming in and introducing yourself, right? So that does go a long way in this area. When you're putting together your resume, make sure that you use the verbiage that's in the actual job description. It feels kind of like cheating, but if someone's putting out there, hey, we're looking for a tasting room staff that is outgoing and friendly with customers and has a knowledge about wine. So that's great. But if your resume doesn't touch anything that's compatible with that, you know, then they might not see you as a good applicant. And then especially in the corporate world where there's like, so like say like Rombauer, that's just the only corporate winery I can think of locally right now. So I'm not trying to like pigeonhole them. But like say you apply to a corporate winery, sometimes they use like an automatic system for scanning resumes, like an actual person doesn't look at it. Like a system scans it and then tries and then is looking for specific words, and then it will just like toss out your resume. So it's important that you reuse the words or use words very similar to what they're looking for in your resume. But don't lie, of course, right? If they're like, we're looking for a master's degree and blah, blah, blah. Don't be like, I have a master's degree if you don't, right? I mean, apply some common sense to that, right? Which you guys would be good at. Another good resource is using ChatGPT. And I know you guys are probably laughing to hear a professor recommending ChatGPT, but it is a very good resource. ChatGPT can be great in assisting you to write a cover letter, and also it can edit your resume for you. You can copy and paste your original work. Key like emphasis on use your original work, but use ChatGPT as a tool. It can help with grammar, flow. It can help you write your letter of interest, copy and paste what you have in there, and it can give you recommendations. And you can even copy and paste the job description into ChatGPT and say, what do you think a good resume would be to respond to this job description? And ChatGPT will tell you, like, it'll process that and be like, this employer is looking for X, Y, and Z, right? So if that helps you, use that, you know, obviously, edit it, look it over before submitting, because the language that Chat GPT uses might not be the same as like what you're trying to convey, right? So just make sure that that still represents you and it's not just a total copy paste Chat GPT thing, because employers are getting smarter and they can tell when something is a little like too perfect, if you know what I mean. They're like, wow, this is really, really well written. And I've gotten like 3 other things that sound the exact same way. So actually, when I was interviewing for the full-time position at the college, it might disappoint you to know that the letters of interest that were submitted for these positions were using a lot of the same verbiage. And also a lot of the staff members were actually using Chat GPT to write their letter of interest because they felt intimidated probably to put together one of their own. So Chat GPT is very smart, but you got to be careful. So just think about that. Okay, references, please, please, please list me as a reference. I know you. You've taken my courses. I'm here to support you. Please list me as a reference. If you do, just let me know so that way I'm prepared if anyone calls me, right? So just let me know. I'll be ready for that. And then if you need a letter of recommendation, just ask me. No problem at all. I do write letters of recommendation. They are not Chat GPT oriented. They're very personal. I like to give very specific examples of experiences I've had with you guys and what I know about your, you know, work ethic and what your like, what your words are hard today, what like your strengths are as individuals. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, awesome. And then the last bit of advice I thought of today before our meeting was this industry is very small and everyone knows each other. So be very careful what you say and do your best within reasonable bounds to keep a positive relationship with everyone that you work with, right? So we have like, and that's not always possible, okay? I'm not like the shining star example of that. I have left wineries on a bad note, you know, and that's just kind of the drama of the industry. However, it is good to keep in the back of your mind, keep a positive relationship, you know, do within the bounds of what your, you know, personal boundaries are of what is correct and what is right. But just keep in mind that everybody talks. You never know who's friends with who, and it can be really petty and very political sometimes. But just keep that in mind when you get around, okay? People do get blackballed. I know that's illegal, obviously, right? But people do talk, and that can happen sometimes. So just keep that in mind. But that is all that I have, my recommendations. I can share this document with you guys if you would like. Do we have any questions?
Professor Claire, what type of jobs typically are available from these? Is it mostly front of house, or they also offer opportunities to work in the actual winery in the back, right?
Right. So right now there's probably going to be a lot of both. During the summertime is when a lot of wineries will start hiring for their seasonal helpers for harvest. So these will be jobs that probably last from August through November. It could range from anything from part-time, you know, just helping sort fruit and do pump overs, to full-time plus overtime, 6 days a week, 10-hour days. You know, so it really ranges. And then also with the influx of tourism for Apple Hill season, you'll see a lot of wineries needing to hire for tasting room as well. And then sprinkled in there, you'll see like more management positions. So like wine club manager, sometimes events manager, or someone who can give tours like harvest tours, wine educator. So that would be someone who kind of does what I do, right? But in a winery setting where they're like, let me tell you about the difference between our stainless steel Chardonnay and our oak Chardonnay. And I'm going to tell you about the winemaking process. And it's kind of a higher level knowledge of winemaking and wine at that winery specific for special events and education. So yeah, a little bit of everything right now for sure.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Suzanne, I do have your application. Or your resume. I'm gonna look at it and I will send you an email with some advice. And so you'll see that probably this weekend.
Okay.
And also I do want to put out there, if anyone would like to schedule like a private meeting with me, and if you have like concerns, like say like, hey, I have a previous back injury, like, do you think I could still make it through harvest? Whatever your concerns are, if you want to sit down and look at your resume together, if you want to email your resume to me and have me look over it with some thoughts, you're welcome to do that as well. So those are all good options. But yeah, we want you guys to get out there and get the experience that you're looking for and continue your learning and get some hands-on work in or whatever you guys are looking for. Yes.
That's great. I'm
Yes.
glad that you have my resume. I have a lady that's going to retype it after you look at it. And I just want to add, that I'm back at school and my
Mhm.
2 jobs, part-time volunteer jobs, what I'm doing
Awesome.
now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Suzanne, do you mind emailing me what those volunteer positions are
Happy
that you
to.
want to add? Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. Well, that is everything I wanted to say. So if you don't have any questions, you're welcome to head out. I'll stop recording as of now.